On Monday, Sony held its Paris Games Week showcase. As was expected, many of my PlayStation Experience predictions are now obsolete. To be honest, I completely underestimated Sony's conference. I didn't expect a whole lot simply because PSX is right around the corner, in less than 6 weeks to be exact. It just seemed more likely that Sony would reserve megaton announcements like the new Sucker Punch IP and the new Last of Us trailer for PSX. Long story short, I was wrong. It was a brief but great conference. This leaves the question, what does it mean for PSX? Are there still surprises left? Now that Paris Games Week is over, I feel much more confident to compile my list of final predictions. Basically, this video is a re-edit of the PlayStation Experience predictions video I released a couple of months ago. So if you are wondering why my voice sounds radically different at times, that's because I have a bad cold. Dramatic pause for pity. Aww. Thanks. With that being said, here are my final PSX 2017 predictions. Let's get the obvious out of the way. God of War will stand frame and center. Apart from The Last of Us Part 2, which is still in its early development stages, thus a couple of years away, God of War is Sony's flagship title and scheduled to release in early 2018. This means PSX is going to be Sony's last chance to showcase God of War on one of their major conferences. Since God of War has entered its final production phase, I predict that we will see more than a trailer. I think the conference will open with a new chunk of gameplay. Sony Santa Monica has done a good job so far in respect of mediating how the new God of War is going to be different from the previous titles in the franchise. They focused on the relationship between Kratos and his son, and the far richer story we can expect from this reimagined version of God of War. The Naughty Dog vibes are obvious. God of War's presentation always was cinematic and epic, but the third-person perspective as well as the decision to put a greater emphasis on complex characters are definitely something completely novel for the series and more in the vein of a Naughty Dog game. Hate it or love it, I for one welcome the changes. For this reason, along with The Last of Us and Death Stranding, God of War is my most anticipated PlayStation exclusive right now. I can't wait to get my hands on it. So maybe this time around they will show us something more traditional. By that I mean a giant action set piece and a Kratos who tears off plenty of limbs. A concrete release date for March, April or May 2018 is also a given. In my previous video I predicted that Sony might end its conference with a new The Last of Us Part 2 cutscene. Since we already got a new Last of Us trailer on Paris Games Week, introducing us to a new cast of characters, it's safe to say The Last of Us Part 2 will be absent from PSX. It's highly unlikely that Naughty Dog is preparing a brand new trailer only 6 weeks after Paris Games Week. Usually Naughty Dog's games always take a key role in PSX conferences. Last year the conference started with a first look at Uncharted: The Lost Legacy and ended with the announcement of The Last of Us Part 2. This time Sony will have to fill these slots with something different, which leads me to my next predictions. I'm not so sure about the return of Death Stranding. I included it in my predictions because it has been a while since we last saw the game. Just like The Last of Us, it was absent at Sony's E3 press conference. Death Stranding shares another similarity with The Last of Us in that I don't see it being released earlier than 2019. Death Stranding and The Last of Us probably will be the last massive PS4 exclusives before we move into the PlayStation 5 era. The reason why I'm not sure about Death Stranding showing up at PSX is the Game Awards, whose host, Geoff Keighley, seems to have a good relationship with Hideo Kojima, which is why the last footage we saw was revealed at the Game Awards. The Game Awards always takes place a few days before PlayStation Experience. I'm confident we will see new Death Stranding material. The question is whether Kojima decides to present it at the Game Awards or PSX. And what are we going to see? Well, good question. As much as I enjoyed the mysterious cutscenes which have been released so far, I finally want to know what type of game lurks behind the overall mystery and weirdness of the subject matter. What type of game is it? Unfortunately, Death Stranding isn't ready for a gameplay reveal just yet in all likelihood. This is another prediction I have to re-evaluate. Last time I predicted that we won't see Sucker Punch's new IP at PSX and that Sony is going to reserve this announcement for E3 2018. To my surprise, Sony chose Paris Games Week to reveal what Sucker Punch has been working on. For years, fans of the Assassin's Creed franchise were craving for a game set in feudal Japan. If such an Assassin's Creed game is currently in the works, then good luck Ubisoft. It comes a little bit too late. Ghost of Tsushima is promising to deliver exactly that. It's like a dream come true. Sucker Punch has proven time and time again that they know their way around great open world games. As far as I can tell, the game also seems to get along without fantasy elements, which is a welcome change from the general fantasy heavy games set during this time period. Sony also uploaded an interview with the creative leads behind Ghost of Tsushima, in which we find out that Sucker Punch has been working on the game for 3.5 years already. PSX would be the perfect occasion for a substantial gameplay reveal. I think Sony will begin or end the conference with a Ghost of Tsushima gameplay demo.
So I'll ask you once again, Samurai. Do you surrender?
The Final Fantasy VII Remake was revealed at Sony's E3 2015 conference and received its first gameplay reveal shortly afterward at PSX 2015. Ever since the game entered radio silence. Although this remake will probably take forever to develop, I feel like after 2 years without any trailers or gameplay footage, Square Enix and Sony have something new in store. Crash Bandicoot strikingly demonstrated that PS1 platformers are experiencing a second spring. The Crash Bandicoot remake was a tremendous success and exceeded Activision's and Sony's expectations. It's only reasonable to assume that they could have decided to bring back the last Crash Bandicoot game fans are yearning for. Personally, I'd love to see a remake of Insomniac's Spyro series. They are part of my childhood, and both Crash Bandicoot and Insomniac's fantastic PS4 remake of Ratchet & Clank prove that there's a huge demand for the revival of PS1 and PS2 classics. Nostalgia is a powerful weapon, I guess. In my last video I talked about the possibility of a new Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer at Sony's PSX conference. As we all know, ROCKSTAR already released a brand new trailer for its upcoming open world western. History has shown that ROCKSTAR prefers to release new footage on its own terms. Despite all of that, I still think there's a slight possibility of seeing the first ever gameplay reveal for Red Dead Redemption 2 at PSX. If ROCKSTAR wants to participate in a major press conference before Red Dead's release, PSX represents their last chance to do so. And then there's the whole marketing deal Sony arranged with ROCKSTAR.
This place
Ain't no such thing as civilized.
Okay, you know this was coming eventually. But let me dream. Let me dream of a sequel to a game which is near and dear to my heart. A game I consider to be one of the best works of art ever made. What else is there to say? I adore Bloodborne. It was my gateway drug into the Souls franchise. Thanks to Bloodborne, I didn't miss out on one of the most important video game series of all time. I know there are a few things speaking against a satisfying sequel, most notably Bloodborne's ending and the possible ramifications of a Bloodborne sequel without the creative guidance of Miyazaki. But for now, that's all speculation. All I know is I want a new Bloodborne game. There's also the possibility that From Software is going to reveal a new IP, heavily inspired by Dark Souls. Either way, I'm in.
Someone asked me once if I remembered how it all went down. As if it happened so long ago that anyone could forget.
Since Days Gone was the only first-party exclusive that was absent at Sony's Paris Games Week conference, it's almost certain that we are going to get a new gameplay portion of the game. We still don't know a whole lot about the protagonist and characters in general. I would welcome a new chunk of gameplay that puts emphasis on the personalities of the characters we can expect in this world and less emphasis on the zombie hordes. I know technically they are infected, not zombies, but come on guys, it's a fucking zombie game. This is why I think it's important for Sony Bend to focus on the characters, which hopefully make Days Gone unique, since there appears to be a general zombie fatigue. So much for my PSX 2017 predictions. Some predictions are more likely than others, and I'm perfectly aware of the fact that a PSX conference which includes every single of these games is not going to happen. But speculating what's to come is a ton of fun, so I dismissed probability and just compiled a list of games I hope to see. As always, I'd like to hear what you guys are hoping for. What did I miss? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Feel free to tell me in the comment section below.